Batman 49, Tom King writing, Mikel Janin on the art. This is the second part of the Best Man story just before the wedding. As we had last issue, Batman Joker in the church. Things were not going smoothly for Batman. Catwoman has decided to come in, and we get the Catwoman Joker side of this what I'll call the greatest love triangle in the history of our time, because it's the most complex.
Sure.
What happened in the issue, Connor?
One long conversation.
Yep.
Connor didn't like this issue, I can tell.
I know, I didn't actually dislike it. I just don't love it. I've said this before. I think King is at his best when he's got plot backing up his dialogue.
Yeah.
I think when he's doing just dialogue like this, it just doesn't always work. It doesn't always land. I think Mr. Miracle seems to be the exception to that. But whenever he does it in Batman, it doesn't work that well for me. So it's all right, but I don't love it.
Okay.
I thought it looked pretty. I liked...
Barring the fight section, where all of a sudden there was just no backgrounds for 3 or 4 pages.
Yeah.
Like it was just plain white or plain orange, and I really didn't like that. It felt kind of lazy. It felt a little bit rushed to finish it in.
I actually really like those pages.
I feel like it's really jarring to just have no backgrounds. It's especially from Janin, who doesn't usually do this.
Mm-hmm.
Usually he has really strong background work.
Stylistically, I just like the style of it for the action scene. It feels like it works to me. It gives it this hyperkinetic kind of flow.
I think it's because all the floor's still there, and like the pews and stuff. But then there's the occasional pillar, but then all of a sudden there's just nothing. It's just empty space around them, and it loses a lot of the perspective for me.
I like it a lot. I think it's a stylistic choice rather than being lazy or not having time to finish more stuff. To me, this feels hyper stylized. I don't know. I'm into it.
Yeah, fair enough. Didn't work for me. But
this is a weird thing to say when we're talking about comic books, because we're talking about comic books, but it feels very comic booky to me, and I'm into it. But I don't know. I like those pages. They're probably my favorite pages of the book, to be honest.
I like what is there. Don't get me wrong, but I felt I was lacking in not having the backgrounds.
I mean, I don't feel like it's lacking, but it does come out of, like, I understand why they're doing it. It's to put focus on Selina and Joker.
Yeah, it's like the rest of their world goes away because they're in the fight. They're
Yep.
just their heads in there. I mean, it works for me, but hey ho. So she slashes his throat with her claws. He shoots her.
Mm-hmm.
So we spend the rest of the issue with them lying, barely been able to move. She's holding her bullet wound. He's holding his neck wound, and it's essentially what I'll say. Almost reminiscing of the days when Catwoman was part of the sort of the Batman Rogue Gallery, and kind of just casually talking about the other villains and like, oh, how's Harvey? Did you see him recently? Oh yeah, he was in Arkham, and you know what he's like. He can go 2 ways. Joke.
I love they're talking about all the different villains, and I love how they keep going back to Penguin.
Yeah.
And like, what does that umbrella do? Because sometimes it's a gun, sometimes it's a helicopter. Like. And then all the talk about Harvey. So yeah, that was... what does he say? He says something about, like, Harvey's the most underrated. That's what Catwoman says.
Yeah, I always thought he was the dark
horse
to take down Batman, yeah.
And as a Two-Face fan, I was like, oh, cool, King. We're on the same page on that. I can't wait for your Two-Face story now.
Oh, yeah. Now, I like this issue the most, I think, out of us. I actually really dug what they were getting into here. And the idea that Joker is partly doing what he's doing because if Batman becomes happy, if he gets happiness, then he can no longer be Batman, because that's how Batman works. And he won't have the Batman that he knows and loves, you know.
But that's how Joker thinks that Batman thinks.
Oh, sure, yeah.
You know?
This is Joker's perspective on it, obviously.
Yeah. So... I just, in the grand scheme of King, where we saw where this started with the Gotham Girl stuff, and almost that might be not the case anymore. About that was the end of Batman.
I mean, the whole run has been about like, can Batman be happy? That's the question.
Yeah, and
right?
just the fact that this issue at 49 ties back to the end of issue 6, like the fact that it's still going, I really appreciate. But no, yeah.
They're making fun of Riddler's sideburns also.
Yes, that's a good
one.
one.
Yeah.
And that Riddler's theory on Joker, that he's not actually crazy, that he does feel the weight of everything he does, and that's just an act. Man, I thought that was super nice and deep, because you never get that kind of stuff with Joker.
Yeah. What I dug about it a lot though is this idea, with can Batman be happy, and is him being happy take away the Batman, and because this is the first kind of seed of doubt where if Catwoman does decide not to go through with it, this is like the first time they've presented me with something that would almost please me as a reason if she says no because you're necessary, you're Batman. If that's the route we're going down.
My theory on this is everyone knows that it's Batman and Catwoman getting married, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not Bruce and Selina. And I almost feel like if she turns it down, she's like, well, I don't want to marry Batman, I want to marry Bruce.
Yeah.
Like, I could see that if in the next issue we don't get the full wedding, that's the reason, and that will either drive Bruce into being Bruce Wayne more, and that's what we get about the end of Batman, or it drives him into Batman more, and it's like, well, this is who I am.
I think the route with that is she wants to marry Bruce Wayne, but he can't be Bruce Wayne because he has to be Batman, which is why he can't then marry her.
But the other thrill in here that I really like is the Joker asks her why. We'd always be laughing about when we were trying to take down Batman, and you never laughed, you never smiled. Why? And she's like, oh no, I only laugh when I win. And at the end of the issue, when Batman gets up and like the down on the floor, Joker almost was going to kill her because I actually laughed as well when he's like, "Hey, Selina, could you like go into my pocket and take out my magazine for my gun because I can't move this hand because I'll bleed out, and then I can shoot you in your face." That was cracking me up. But at the end, she actually laughs. She actually looks a little bit psychotic because she's actually holding Joker and laughing, and it's the idea that even if this wasn't the intention, she's almost finally beaten Batman. Because marrying him is beating Batman in a weird way, and I like that. This actually worked for me. Like I know this is the sort of Tom King Batman that fails for Connor quite a bit, but for me this is kind of the stuff I like the most about his run.
I put it the conversational stuff. This is still behind the date issue.
Oh sure, I'll give you that. Yeah,
like that's by far some of my favorite stuff he's done for Batman. But my favorite part in this was where Selina tells Joker that she stole the dress, and he's like, "Oh, he doesn't know because he would never prove that." Like, just them talking about him as he's a person, not as the Batman, but like Bruce is so against crime that even her stealing the wedding dress, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not gonna tell him." I thought that was a nice little light moment in this otherwise dark.
See, for me, I didn't because I thought the whole point of when we had that issue was that Bruce had accepted her for who she is, and he knows that she's going to steal some stuff at times. I thought that was what we settled on when we spoke about that issue. This kind of just undercuts that completely because Bruce hasn't accepted who she is if he won't accept that she stole her wedding dress.
Well, yeah, but it's more of a playful like.
Yeah, I don't take it as seriously as that because I mean she thinks he won't handle it, but maybe she's incorrect.
Well,
maybe he does know because he's Batman and he knows things.
Exactly, and of course he couldn't expect him. And how do we know that he didn't go back and pay for it? Like if he found out, like
because he's Batman and he's also Bruce Wayne.
Exactly, like
he can afford it. Yeah,
exactly. So, but I just like that he'd be mad, and then Joker's like, yes, he does get mad, just like because Joker's been on the other side of that, where he's taking quite a few beatings because Batman's been mad at him.
Actually, one of my favorite things in the issue is when Joker says, "No, I need Batman. I need to try and kill everyone, and I need Batman to stop me.
Stop me.
I need that. I need that chase. I need him."
He's like, "I've killed Robins. I've done this. I've done that." And yet still I'm here. So he needs me as much as I need him.
I'll be honest. Despite hearing the complaints, I love this issue more at the end of this conversation than I did at the start. I like it a lot.
That's fine. I just
it's probably the least I've liked King's Joker as well. I feel like I know he knows Catwoman more, but it's just a bit too casual almost.
See, I don't mind that. I like that they can have this art because he's still trying to kill her. It doesn't matter if they're friendly.
No, I get it. I don't know. It just didn't land for me as well. Like he just comes off a bit too casual.
For me, that's the joke that he's being this casual whilst he's trying to kill her. That's to me that's the play on it. But no, I really like King's writing style, and I think this is actually kind of similar to Bendis. Not in style, but in the same way that if you don't like his writing style, this is where you're going to start having problems with some of the dialogue and stuff. But no, I'm into it. I really like this issue because it's not like with the Poison Ivy issues where there was a lot of I thought legit complaints, and I wasn't keen on the last issue of that. But no,
And that hurts me as an Ivy guy. Like
I know it does. But thanks, Heroes in Crisis is coming, and Ivy's part of that. You get a whole big thing. So, and we'll see how he does with a universe-wide event with Crisis.
Yeah, so. and it's got Booster in it, so how bad can it be?
There you go. So that's Matt's mantra. So we'll rate the book. Obviously they are. I mean, obviously Corradi's complaints about the pages with the backgrounds, but Janin, as per usual, with the faces and the style is.
It's funny because there's twice in a row I've said this about Janin, where last time it was the cross, this time it's the backgrounds. Where one thing in the issue that bothered me. The rest of it's still fantastic art-wise. I really can't critique what is there in terms of all the facial expressions.
It's funny.
It's still great.
With the cross, I just didn't think that was a big deal. It didn't bother me. I actively like the thing you're complaining about this time, though. So, just for comparison.
I put a bomb in the cross. That was such a great moment, though.
It was. It was funny.
Would have been if the cross was there.
It doesn't matter. Much,
it doesn't matter. Anyway, Matt, what would you rate this out of 10?
Oh, this is an 8. I really enjoyed the art, but a lot of the dialogue just. Not that it didn't work for me. It was just one of those issues that. I prefer his dialogue.
And it's still a high score, Matt. You don't have to
I know, but still
justify it too much. It's still great. Connor, what's your rating?
Same as last issue. I think 6.
All right. I go 8.5. Go 8.5. I liked it a lot. I think my only sort of critique would be the pacing was a little bit weird because it kept saying later and they were still there. I almost wished that we'd be cut to something else just to break up the time breaks. Or did something.
Just Batman lying there still.
Yeah, just Batman like almost getting up and falling back there, just as the joke. That'll work for me. But hey, whatever. Maybe just establishing shots of the city again. Just do a panel outside to
show like the sun at different levels.